Hello, my name is Steve Souders. I'm a captain on the Alton Fire Department, and I've been with the department for 18 years. I was invited here this evening to educate the council on fire prevention and how it's accomplished through the Alton Fire Department for the city of Alton. Let's start with the 3 E's of fire prevention. They are engineering, education, and enforcement. Engineering uses construction techniques to reduce the risk of fire and fire spread. This includes fire-resistant materials, suppression systems, and water distribution systems. Construction is then controlled and influenced through Alton's building codes and permit processes. Next is education. The Alton Fire Department provides public fire prevention and life safety information through community presentations, handouts, and safety inspections. The final strategy, or E, is for enforcement. Risks are reduced and mitigated through the creation and application of codes, laws, ordinances, and regulations. So how are codes enforced in the city of Alton? And how are they applied to new and existing occupancies? To find this out in more detail, a discussion was required with Captain John Davis, Alton Fire Department's inspection officer. According to Captain Davis, the city of Alton currently uses the 2015 edition of International Fire Code and 2000 edition of NFPA 101 Life Safety Code. These codes are then enforced mostly through the permitting process. Permits are contingent on meeting and abiding by the required codes. Fines are also applied as needed through the city's code enforcement branch. New occupancies are required to comply with the current list of codes adopted by the city. Existing occupancies that have not undergone structural renovations or reclassification are generally accepted as existing, non-conforming in reference to current code requirements. Let's now talk about fire tests and fire ratings and how they apply to code enforcement in Alton. You may remember the mention of fire-resistant materials earlier when discussing engineering. Fire-resistant materials are designed to not ignite when exposed to flame. These materials are rated based on how long they can withstand a controlled burn test. Fire-resistant construction, or Type 1 construction, as it is called in the fire service, is commonly found in schools, hospitals, and high-rises. These buildings can withstand and contain a fire for a specified period of time. The American Society for Testing and Materials and Underwriters Laboratories, Inc. are 2 testing organizations which determine fire ratings for fire-resistant materials. Time-based tests are used to evaluate a material's ability to resist fire and maintain structural integrity. According to Captain Davis, fire ratings are then specified through accredited testing agencies like the ones mentioned, and usually guaranteed by the manufacturer of any such building material. Another type of construction worth discussing is ordinary, or Type 3 construction. This type of construction is used in a wide variety of buildings. It consists of masonry exterior walls with the interior components such as walls, floors, and roof structures being made of wood. A big problem ordinary construction presents to firefighters is the large amount of void spaces within the walls, floors, and roof assemblies. These spaces allow, let's say, an electrical fire to extend vertically and horizontally concealed within these voids. Because it's so widely used, ordinary construction is often referred to as Main Street USA. In Alton, I like to think of it as Broadway Street USA. This is because our Broadway is lined with ordinary construction buildings. Many of these buildings are over 100 years old and have gone through numerous renovations and occupancy changes. I believe these areas of old, ordinary construction, such as Broadway and the downtown area, present unsafe structures and concerns to firefighting operations. Many of these buildings are connected, are built in close proximity to each other, which poses the threat of potential conflagration and fire spread. I say this with firsthand experience, as in 2011, much of the 600 block of Broadway was lost to fire. The fire started in the basement of an ordinary construction commercial building, then traveled vertically and horizontally throughout void spaces until it destroyed the entire building and numerous businesses. Threats of fire spread and devastating fires like this one make it very important to the Alton Fire Department's inspection office and code enforcement branch to get into these buildings to make sure they are safe and up to code. During renovations, it's important that the city is aware of what's being done so that it is safe and code compliant. Making sure firewalls and common attics are not tampered with, or fire suppression systems are added if an occupancy change requires it, are important factors that must not go undone. Plan reviews are crucial for city inspectors to facilitate with builders that proper codes are followed in new builds and large renovations. Structural control is another form of enforcement that can ensure buildings are built and are renovated following fire and life safety codes. This, along with plans reviews, make it so inspectors are able to ensure that all fire safety requirements have been fulfilled prior to a building opening for public or private use. Again, thank you for having me this evening, and I hope this presentation has been informative.